Welcome back to Over Dinner. What started out as conversations regarding relationships, parenting, personal development, and the human experience, Over Dinner turned into this podcast.
It sure did.
It sure did. I'm Jarrod.
And I'm Dr. Nikki.
Sometimes we forget to introduce ourselves, but this is us.
This is us. I love that show.
Yeah, you did love that show.
Do you ever watch it?
A couple times when I wanted to cry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I literally cried every single episode.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah, it was a great show. It's on Netflix now if you want to watch it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't think I have time.
Well, I want everyone to know that your birthday is this week. It's on Tuesday.
It's on Tuesday.
The day this episode will
be launching.
airing. So everyone listen and celebrate.
Say happy birthday.
And say happy birthday.
38 years young.
38 and feeling great.
Yeah, that's my motto.
Are you feeling good tonight?
No,
How
I
are
feel
you?
like shit right now.
You're feeling like shit right now.
Yep.
Do you want to tell the audience why you feel like shit?
Great question. I don't know why I feel like shit, but I thought it was because of the weekends that we had. But I felt okay Sunday coming back. We'll explain what we did. And then yesterday I felt worse.
Yeah.
And I think the kids were sick while we were gone.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we caught a little bug.
How fun was that for us?
Fantastic. What a great way to come back and have a birthday.
I really felt awful yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's parenthood, and it's harder to recover when you're 38.
38. Now I'm 38.
Now you're 38.
I am.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, what did we do this weekend to celebrate your birthday?
Yeah, so those of you who don't know, big USC Trojan fan.
Did you go to USC?
I did not go to USC, Nikki. Everyone likes to ask that. But
Do you wish you went to USC?
you know me, I have no regrets.
But like, have you ever thought about it?
Nope.
Oh.
Well, I love USC. Both my parents went to SC, and they've had season tickets since before I was born. So growing up, we literally probably went to every single home game, tailgated, and when you do that, you're going to become a big fan.
Yeah.
So I've always been a big fan my whole life, and traveled to see games, gone to their national championship games, and now that they're in the Big Ten this year, they were playing at the Big House in Michigan. We thought it'd be really, really awesome to go see that place. And someone I work with on my team is a big Michigan fan. So we decided we'd make a trip out of it for the weekend before my birthday and go up to Detroit, go to Ann Arbor, and see the Big House.
Yeah. First weekend away without kids in over 2 years.
Yep.
So big, exciting weekend for a lot of reasons, right? I am not as big of a USC fan, but USC is like actually always had a place in my heart. I went to water polo camp there when I was 14, I want to say. And like I fell in love with the campus, fell in love with a boy.
I was just going to say, I think you fell in love with a boy there.
Yeah, fell in love with a boy. And I just,
those are the memories.
But you know what's funny is that like so many people that I dated actually were SC fans. And that was definitely a like checkbox.
It was on the list.
It was on the list, but I didn't think it was on the list. But there is like a part of me that feels connected to SC.
Cool.
I had an SC sweatshirt.
Yeah. I was actually the bat boy growing up for them.
God, do you want to just one up me or what?
Yeah, I used to be the bat boy for the baseball team too.
Wow.
So, I didn't go there, but I went to what we call the Little USC.
What's that mean?
Maybe I'm the one that call that. The school I went to in Orange County, California is called Chapman, and sometimes it's called.
I went to Chapman as well.
Called the baby USC.
It is.
I've never heard that. I've heard that said.
Did you make that up?
Maybe, but I also think I've heard it.
Okay, because I went to Chapman and never heard that.
Well,
I went
to grad school, so you weren't in the undergrad, man.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyways, so you have no regrets that you didn't go to SC, but you're a diehard fan.
Yep.
You've gone to lots of their games. And you went to a game this weekend. Jarrod was on national television.
Oh, I was. That's
Out of 110,702 fans, Jarrod was on national television.
I was on television.
Like, so
Wild.
just wild. Like, out of all the people, you. But we were in the fifth row.
In the fifth row, and I looked pretty good.
You look pretty good
And,
in the picture.
And I was just pondering. It was a play late in the game. USC was up 4. It was 3rd and 1 for Michigan. And I was in deep concentration and thought, luckily not picking my nose or doing anything. But yeah, we couldn't get service in the game. And then when we got out, just.
Yeah, you're on TV. I saw Jerry.
Yeah, we're there with my buddy also. So Nikki and I went and our friend Sean came with us, who actually went to USC, was on a national championship volleyball team. So us three had a great time, met up with my coworker and his wife and their friends, and went to their tailgate. They're great hosts. It was a great trip.
Tailgate.
Not the outcome we wanted. We'll talk about that.
So that's actually what we're going to be talking about tonight is, one, how you dealt with loss in regards to your sports teams over the years and how it's really
changed.
different, right? It's really different. I mean, even like beer pong, like
I used to lose
not
my
just
shit.
sports,
I used to
but
lose
just
my shit.
competitiveness.
Yeah,
And like our softball teams when we were like 25, like
I was yelling at girls. I was yelling at them. Yeah,
anyway,
I like to win.
yeah. So, this was hard in certain seasons, like especially if he was like stuck in a mood. Dodgers lost, 49ers lost. I mean,
Some tough Super Bowls.
some Super
I had to learn to lose a lot.
Yeah, you learn to lose a lot, so maybe that's what has helped. So
Yeah.
we're gonna first talk about kind of that timeline, maybe not a timeline, but really the range of experience that you've gone through and what you're doing now, because the way you handle loss is so much different now. So, any practical tips that you could share with others? Because I know there's a lot of diehard fans out there that really feel connected to their team. So when they lose, it impacts them, not only themselves, but everybody around them. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is as I said, I'm not as much of a USC fan as Jarrod. I have an affinity to SC, but it's not like Jarrod. I don't follow all their things. I wouldn't choose to go to their game unless it kind of was asked for me to go, and which is what happened. So we started thinking about when, why should you, all these different things in regards to supporting your partner. Should you do things that you don't really want to do? When do you do them? How often do you do it? Are they small things? Is it these bigger things? Are they things that you talk about prior to like the interest that you have? So we want to talk about the importance of showing up for your partner when it comes to their interests and passions, and the importance of doing that in sustaining a really healthy marriage. So that's the second thing we're going to talk about. And the third thing is, of course, we have to hear your birthday reflections, what you did and learned about yourself in your 38th year, and what is in store for 39, or that you're hoping to have unfold.
Cool.
All right. So why don't we start with where you were when it came to your competitive nature, sports, and then loss, and kind of how it took you down.
Yeah. I played sports when I was licensed. I was 3 years old. I played baseball, always competitive. Played baseball all the way to college and into college. And I don't know. I don't know if it's genetic, but I just love the feeling of winning. I also said I hate losing more than I like winning. I think
I hate losing more than I like winning. Okay, got it.
yeah, like I feel more when I lose than than the excitement of winning something.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like a quote from somebody, some famous
Probably
quote
Kobe.
from a coach or something. Probably Kobe. But it was my identity. I think that's what I reflected on is like
I think it was Michael Jordan. Sorry. It was a basketball player. I'm almost sure.
I guess we're gonna have to put that in the show notes. Yeah. But in reflection, I think I tied my worth and my identity to being a winner or a loser. And I think also as you grow up and we're kids, you get praised a lot for the winning and you get rewarded and you get trophies and you said you're awesome and you're great. And depending who your parents are, how they look at loss and stuff like that, like get defeated and stuff like that. I don't think that had much of an impact, but yeah, school wanted to have the highest grades in the class. Anything I was competing on, I wanted to win and win really, really badly. And then that carried over after I stopped playing sports and started doing intramural sports. Started playing beer pong in college. I wanted to win so desperately, and losing actually it crushed me. Like my mood, who I was. I'd be pissed off and no one would want to hang out with me, or I'd probably go drink a little bit more because I was really angry. Going to my sports teams, I think in college, or right after college when the 49ers lost the first time in the Super Bowl, going to the national championship, watching SC lose the national championship, Dodgers. I went to two. I think I was better by then. But I think it was just my identity was tied up first in my worth of if I won, and then in the teams that I supported. That's who I was. Like that was my identity. And if they lost, I lost, and I took it really, really hard. And that took me a while to get over that. How long would you say? When did I get better at this?
Probably around the same time you did all the personal development work.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions that came to mind.
Great.
So My first question is, you learned to win, like you got praise, all the things. Did you learn to fail? Like, what did you learn about failure?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a lot of memories. I didn't fail a lot. Let's just be real.
Well, the reason I ask it is because I feel like it's a very universal characteristic of millennials
Mm.
that we weren't. A lot of people that I know, we are all kind of similar in the sense that we're type A, even though if we may be type B, but type A, competitive, ambitious, feeling like we have to keep our calendars extremely full
Yep.
in order to be productive. And if we aren't doing certain things well enough, or it's max capacity all the time, we are not doing our best.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because I have moments of memories of like when I lost a swim, like at a swim meet, and maybe I came in second or third, I didn't win, or my time was off, like it wasn't what I expected. I remember being comforted, like you'll get it next time and things like that. Like, you got this. But I don't think I ever had the same experience with losing that I did with winning. And it's really interesting because that's carried into my adult years of how I look at failing,
Mm.
is that it's not as good as winning. And something that we've talked about actually in the past, we may have put it on one of these podcasts, is I believe you told me this stat, is Google aims to fail 95% of the time.
Yeah, because they're pushing themselves. They're thinking more creative and bigger.
Yeah.
They only want a 5% success rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, why don't we think like that? But so,
because a lot of us are wrapped in our identity of like that defines us. Losing defines us. Failing defines us, or a failure.
yeah.
We didn't win or didn't do great or didn't get the high grades or didn't get the score that we need to or didn't perform well.
Yeah.
And I think probably, I think if you look at our millennials and maybe there's pieces like, because, all generations are different. So what did our parents go through that made it feel like to us that we wanted to win
Yeah.
all the time, that we needed to win all the time?
Well, that actually brings me, I was thinking about this. This brings me to another question, is you brought up the fact that you get praise when you win, you get the trophies, the other things. Weren't we also the generation that everybody got a medal?
Yep. Participation. And then when you got to that point in life where that wasn't realistic anymore, like a job and different things, that there was no more participation, like you had to perform.
Yeah.
It shocked us.
Yeah.
Because we
just constantly felt like we were failing.
Yeah, because
we weren't getting
we were told
any
we were getting participation.
Yeah.
We got a medal for everything, so we were doing great.
And now, just even flash forward to generations today, I would call them like the social media generation. You're getting constant validation when you're posting information.
Yeah, if you don't get any likes, or if you don't write comments, or they bash you and stuff like that, it's you're back to your identity.
Identity. Okay, let's go back to your identity as a sports fan. I'm curious if you're being an athlete yourself, really loving the game, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, all your, you like a lot of things. Do you think, two questions. My first question is you got hurt your sophomore year in college, so you did not continue playing baseball the remainder years of college. Do you think that had anything to do with your competitive nature later? Like that you wanted something that maybe you didn't?
I think there's maybe a piece of it, but I needed the outlet. I didn't have anything anymore for outlet, that competitive drive in myself, and I needed something. And I think it actually is when you don't play athletically anymore, because you don't have any control over the outcomes anymore. When I played, I did, right? So, but when you don't anymore, it's like that lack of control is really hard and sucks.
Yeah.
And especially I think when it's, when you leave something and it wasn't always like there was an injury and different things, I think that makes it harder. But it was more the outlet. I had to find the outlet for it. Yeah. Where do this thing inside me that I want to win and I need to compete, I have to find another version of that. So then it got intense into sports teams.
Yeah. So do you think a lot of sports fans are athletes themselves, or do you think they're just fans?
Both.
Okay. And both. I'm just like, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Like, I'm trying to think of something in my own life that I care this deeply about, that it would really impact me if I went away or lost or something. And I'm having a hard time,
sure,
like understanding a team losing, because it's like if I was playing myself and we lost, I would be devastated.
Mhm.
But I'd be like, because I feel like I put all my energy in, all my effort in. But when it comes to like this third party, basically, like your team and this deep connection that you have with a sports team, it feels, I don't know, like I'm trying to understand it.
I don't think I understand it.
Yeah.
I don't think I understand why, like, how can that, I think again, it's wrapping yourself in an external identity versus, your identity is not a sports team, is not winning, it's not
Okay, so I'm
losing.
gonna cut you off real quick because I have another thought about this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna like take it back to when you were a child.
Okay.
So we've grown up with gender norms or like gender stereotypes, right? So boys are introduced to sports and trucks and all of the things. I would say, have more heavily, and when we were growing up and before, rather than today, I think it's much more gender neutral in terms of playing with toys. But girls were encouraged to play with the tea party or do the easy bake oven or have a Barbies, where boys are like really encouraged to get into sports at 2, 3, 4 years old. And it's interesting to me if we talk about identity, right? Like what is actually yours and what was taught to you at a very young age, right?
Yeah.
And so I know you love sports and you loved baseball.
And I think because I was awesome at it, that helps. Like I was really good at it. I'm just not saying I am. I was really good at it. Like I
I'm
was.
surprised. You're good at everything you do.
Thanks, honey. But I was really good at it. I was, winning MVP awards, getting asked to play on elite teams to travel the world, getting recruited by colleges, getting recruited by major league. Like I was good. So I think also when you're good at, that's a deep thing. I don't know if you weren't as good, because I think when you're that good, you think you can impact the result of a game, which you can. And so I expect myself to win at that level.
Yeah.
Like I expect to win.
Yeah.
And majority of my life, even in college, like we went to the World Series every year. Like I really wasn't on a team that we were bad or didn't win. Like we were always in something.
Okay. So we talked about like when you started to kind of move through, well, I guess we just answered the question that I'm about to ask, which is about identity. So the shift that really happened for you is that you began to build an identity internally, and doing self work, which what you didn't have to rely on your sports teams as much. I mean, there was a time that Jarrod, like every morning he woke up for work, like Sports Center was on. He was eating breakfast. Is a sports. He was listening to it on the drive.
When we got home, the TV went on. I was watching everything. Like I watched, like I pretty much watch football season now.
It's just so crazy because like you barely, and there are weekends that if we're busy, like
I even made like, when me and Nikki got together, I was like, something you know, I'm going to watch football every Sunday.
It's a really important thing we actually talk about, because this is like an actual joke on Instagram. Like everybody knows that when football season starts, half the husbands are gone. Like you're not available Saturday and Sunday, right? Which is so
tough,
fucked up. It really is.
But that's what was my expectation.
Like it is like there are jokes on Instagram about it. I mean, there's like golf wives and there's that whole thing, but specifically about like football season, people are like, I'm busy Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And in the first game, you were pissed this first week because there was a Thursday, Friday.
No, that's not why I was pissed. The very first week of football, why was I pissed?
I didn't communicate.
Yes.
Well, that's the only reason we ever won fights.
The first night, Thursday night, I expected to hang out with him, and he said he was going to watch football.
We can hang out. The football's on.
I said, okay. So then that was the first one, but he did not tell me that there was going to be Saturday that he wasn't going to hang out, because he'd already done that on Thursday, and that's what I
actually didn't know there was a Friday game.
Friday.
That's why you're upset, because Friday. There's usually not a Friday game.
Oh, I thought you were talking. It was a Saturday game.
No, Thursday was Friday. The next night was another NFL game.
Oh, that's right.
It was the next night. I didn't know until.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's why I got upset. It was about communication. Actually, it wasn't about football. It was about you letting me know, because I had expectations. Like you're going to be home. We're going to hang out. So, let's talk about that piece of this season, when you're a diehard fan and your team is playing
In fantasy,
like you're in 4 fantasy leagues.
3.
Okay, I know. I'm just saying in general, people like you're in 4 leagues. You love college football, and I'm not saying you. I'm like general.
You're building a character.
Yeah, like you have your college team. You know, you're like a Georgia fan, and you're a
Falcons fan.
Sure.
And you have fantasy
you
teams,
have
so you want to
fantasy
watch
teams.
all the games.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what does that look like in modern day parenting?
Yeah. Well, I think the one thing on the West Coast, I think it would have been a lot harder. So I'm actually grateful that we live, even though I don't watch the night game really at all. But knowing that the first games don't start till 1,
True.
you get the time with your kids and your family to do stuff in the morning.
And the first one starts like right around her nap.
Yeah, so she'll be napping, and then we get up, and then maybe go do something. But
yeah,
I kind of actually helps
so
a
the
lot.
thing is that everyone needs to move to the East Coast.
Everyone needs to move to the East Coast. So the timing for having a family is great because you can actually do things with your family in the morning and then watch football in the afternoon.
Okay, but what about for the other people?
I don't think I can give them advice because that's on their relation. I would say it's back to communication. If that's something that's important to you, then you got to let your wife know that. And I think it's a compromise of what are things that's important to her that you're willing, that she's really wants to do.
What
and
if she wants to go to Target and Home Goods?
Well, there's a financial component to there.
Well, you bought Red Zone
for $15 a month. So you can spend $15 a month.
How many months is the football season? 3?
4 months.
4 months.
So
okay.
15 times 4. How much is that, honey? When you get $60 for Target, go for it, honey.
Are we gonna have another financial call?
No, it's not going well. Let's just everything we told you we don't do it. That's just kidding. I'm just joking.
No, but some of the things we did buy those chairs. We have 6 chairs.
Update: chairs have been bought and
purchased
and bought them. But I think you have to communicate, right? And you have to make. I mean, you can't you have kids too. You have to make sacrifices. Luckily, we came home on Sunday from the trip. Jakey boy's into football.
Now you're just sitting there watching.
He goes, whoa! So that's cool. So that'll be helpful. But I think, yeah, happy wife, happy life.
But you weren't always like that.
No, I think because value shifted.
Is that because you became a parent, or is that because you did
self-work? What I valued is different than what I valued back then. Is competition was a value. Like getting that out and watching a game. And having that, I love watching football. I love watching competition. It's fun, especially the best athletes in the world. It's awesome to me, like watching
Olympics and stuff.
Yeah, watching the best athletes in the world do something that's just, the feats they can do on a football field or basketball or baseball is just incredible. Like what Ohtani's doing on the Dodgers, something you'll never see again is just cool. But I think it's also I value my kids and my family and the relationship we have, and that's way more present of it. And I think that's what the self-work did, because having those things that I can that quickly be an emotional roller coaster is not obviously healthy for me either. And I realized that if I'm tied up in how I'm going to feel and how I'm going to feel I'm worth is based off an external thing happening that I have zero control over, that's a really hard life to live, So I think once I move in, I'm internally do I think I'm good and I'm doing good things and I'm a good person? That's my identity. And yeah, that's who I am. And I still can I wish they would have won. Even that SC game, super frustrated. But I think it was but how cool was that to watch an amazing game?
And you're on TV.
And the guys behind us who were Michigan fans were awesome. And we were having good talks back and forth and they were really awesome and great, which made the experience even better.
True.
But I was I got to be here with one of my best friends and my wife at a game in the big house, which I've never, it's the biggest stadium in the whole country. SC's first time there in 50 something years. They've been the Big Ten. It was an amazing game to watch. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
The outcome, it's the icing on the cake, but you look at the whole picture.
I mean, you want a game
yes, but that's all I wanted. I mean, we want them to win, but if you look at the whole picture of everything, it's if I said it was sucked because of that, just because of the outcome, then I can allow my life to be dictated so easily by other things. And that's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think that's the thing is you can't be tied up your identity in a team or a win or a loss. It's who you want to be and how you show up in the world for the people you love, and just be grateful. I'm grateful I got to even go.
Yeah.
And do that.
Yeah. Okay, so you just brought up that you went with your friend and me I'm again not like Sean. I'm not like know every stat and all the things.
Who's our quarterback?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I know. Like if you said his name, I would know. But like that's not something I know. So I had several times during the game, I felt uncomfortable
Mm.
with like being there with you, and that's because I was, when I mean uncomfortable, I was judging myself, worrying that I was impacting your experience at the game.
Did you see me screaming on third downs?
No, I know. Like I understand what's happening.
Yeah. That's what
I
you
understand
know
what's
the game.
happening.
You
I
know the
do know
game.
the game. I do. There are some things I don't fully like. I'm like, I
You
asked
asked
a
me some
couple
questions that night. Yeah.
but like I understand what's happening. And I feel like I'm not like a real fan, so I can't like scream and like do all the things because
do
I'm
whatever
just
you want.
like, I know, but I was feeling uncomfortable. So I ended up becoming like very quiet. And I was like kind of trapped in that for a bit. And so I was curious, my question basically is if your partner is not as interested, but shows up, but like doesn't maybe know the quarterback's name.
Miller Moss.
Yeah, would not have gotten that. Like how does that feel for you?
I was just grateful you wanted to go and experience that with me. Like for me, like I'm not gonna like it doesn't make like I don't need you to know everything. Like your support is awesome. And just to like us to get away and be able to do something together, right? But to share an experience that yeah, obviously was more for me. But I think the biggest thing from this is just because it was for me and about me doesn't mean I can't take into um I can't I have to think about your needs as well. Just because me doesn't mean I can do whatever I want and be whoever I want to be and do it. We're gonna do everything that I want to do. Um it doesn't work that way just because this is for me. Like you're there and supporting me. So I also gotta know like, hey, if we're done at a certain point, like and I wanted to make sure to be mindful of that, of like when we went home and what that looked like and what time we got up. We didn't have to get there crazy early that we could get a chance to sleep in. So we get a chance to sleep in. So I think that was the important piece. Like, yes, you supporting me. I loved having you there, but I think the biggest thing in for people to hear is just because it was for me and about me and my weekend doesn't mean that there's still not another person that needs that. I still have the value and respect, and she's still there.
And what do you think happens when you do that?
You love me more?
I want to support you.
Yes,
again
for sure.
and again.
Yeah,
And
it
again.
reinforces.
And I'm like, okay, this game I was exhausting and fun all at the same time. Do I want to do that again? Well, I reflect on my experience. I'm like, yeah, because I had a positive experience that I felt very like tended to, while also feeling like you got to have your space. I was so glad that, Sean was there with you so you could really like experience it on a different level than if it was just me and you. So that, was great. And I think that's a really important thing is that I think it can be challenging for someone like me. Well, actually, rephrase. So I'm surprised that you said that. Not surprised, but knowing that you're a people pleaser, right? So like now turning this on me, if we were in the same situation, but it was my kind of event, I would be preoccupied with your needs. I would not be as relaxed as you are. I would be concerned, like checking in. Are you doing okay? I would be worried that you weren't having as good of a time, or knowing that you're not having as good of a time.
No,
but
of course not.
No, of course not. But
it's also on the partner, like you did, to communicate.
What did I do?
Just the communication. Like if you wanted to, like, you even said, "Hey, I can go." I'm like, Nikki, you're not going home. Like I want to go home too. Like we don't, we don't need to get there, Jarrod.
Well, this was like
9:00 a.m.
That's a great practical advice thing. Right? So we stayed in Detroit, not in Ann Arbor, because the prices for the hotels in Ann Arbor were very expensive. So we thought that staying in Detroit
thought it was a smart move.
Was
Hindsight,
smart move,
wrong.
But it was like almost an hour drive back and forth, and about $100-$200 was the same amount of money that we would have spent on a hotel room. Yeah. So now, moving forward and in the future, what he just brought up is like I could have gone home if I was in Ann Arbor, right?
Oh yeah,
I could have. And at the same time, I am really appreciative that we both were on the same page when it came to when we're leaving and when we're going. And we talked about this on a previous podcast episode. It was the episode that we talked about like making spontaneous plans and things like that, is like having a conversation about expectations. So we, even in the morning, I was like, what is the expectation? Like, how much are you drinking? Like, what is our kind of our timeline of when we're going home and things like that? It did not have to be dead on.
No, but you want to know.
You want to know. And I think
so you going into something that's not always for you,
mm-hmm.
you can understand what this is going to be like.
Yeah.
Which makes complete sense.
Exactly. So it gives me a little bit more of like okay, I know he's on my team, you know? And then even like when I went up, so this on Saturday night, we were back at the hotel and you and Sean had dinner and I went upstairs and just like was able to be alone and kind of, unwind from the crazy day. And you stayed down for like maybe another half hour. It was not long. But I asked Jake when you were coming up and you said 11 and you followed through with that. In the past, like nothing recent. I'm talking like years and years and years and years ago. Like, I mean,
it was different.
It was different. Like you weren't home at 11.
Yeah, I wouldn't communicate.
And you wouldn't communicate that you're home at 11.
And you'd be in fear. Where is this guy? What is he live?
Yeah. And that was ultimately what I was so worried about. I was like, something has happened. He's not communicating, or he just doesn't care about my needs or my, our relationship. So that's another thing, right? Is like following through with what you say you're going to do is, it impacts the experience. So then I want to continue to be supportive.
You can get more.
Yeah. So for me, being the partner of supporting the person whose event it was a mindset thing for sure. So like, let me give you just example. My friend had told me that the service in the stadium was really spotty like the day before. And I was like, shit. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to, sack up. I just got to figure it out.
You have to not be paying attention for 4 hours.
Yeah. So we got there and she was right that there was no service and you were getting messages, but I was getting nothing unless I went all the way up, and I only went up during right before halftime.
Yep.
So I had expected myself to be able to like be on my phone if I wanted to like not pay attention, but I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't have that. It wasn't presented to me. So it was a mindset thing. I like looked at the clock and I'm like, all right, you have 12 minutes. But the thing about a game on national television is not only are there timeouts,
but there's long, dude.
Commercial breaks.
They were. I thought those were the longest commercial breaks I've ever.
I was like, this game is going to be forever. It was crazy. So, but I had to like continually come back to that anchor, right? Of, be here in this present moment. Because it was a really cool experience, even though it's like I don't really care about the football game, like
the football.
It was still a really cool experience for exactly the same reasons that you said, right? And I'm glad that I went to that. I'm really glad it's part of my bucket list for sure. Not something I would have chosen, but absolutely happy that it's on part of my bucket list. But I had to tell myself, this is one day. This is like 4 hours. It's okay to like not be on your phone, to just be here, support your husband. You can go up if you need to and get your phone, but like, it's okay. And like, I kept looking at the clock and not like, oh my God, how much time is left? It would be more so like, wow, time is going, time is moving. And it's kind of like with kids where it goes by so fast. It goes by so fast. Yeah. But if you're thinking opposite, like this is lasting forever.
Then it will last forever.
I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
It's going to last forever. But it didn't last forever, right? And it even got very exciting. Yeah. So it keeps you interested. So for me, it was a real mindset of placing myself in a present state and recognizing what this was for. And knowing that this is not happening every Saturday. This is a very rare experience. that I can be present for and for my partner as well. And like there were times I wanted to go home multiple times, like the night before, like I just was like, I want to lay down. But nope, kept walking and kept doing it because that was important to you.
Yeah, I think that's a part of it too. Is you got to find in any situation where's the gratitude, what's the thing that you can look back to and say this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
There's always moments in there, and I also think it's the work we've done in our relationship, right? You want to support me, you're not resentful that you're on this, and I mean, you could have said, I don't. You can just go with Sean. I don't want to go, but I think you also wanted to be there with me, and
I didn't even hesitate when you asked. You know, like I was like, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is some practical advice that we can give away to our listeners about supporting our partners? Like, well, kind of maybe we can just wrap up what we just talked about, which is like having conversations ahead of time, expectations.
Yeah.
So on Instagram on Monday, I shared 5 practical tips for balancing your personal preferences and your partner's happiness. One is understanding each other's needs. So, like as we already said, we talked about this is communication, right? Start by understanding what truly matters to your partner. Knowing their needs helps you make thoughtful decisions that honor both of your preferences. Second is communicate open and honestly. Share interests open and honestly, and communicating ensures that both of you feel heard and valued in the relationship. Number 3 is find common ground. So something that we talked about was like, okay, we're going to be out till this time. This is what we're going to do. You want to go to this. I want this. Let's meet in the middle. Right. I think this is also can be like looking for activities. Like if it's not an SC game, what's another thing that is maybe athletic, but that maybe I'd be interested in as well.
Or it's like when you go somewhere, hey, I want to do this on this trip and I want to do this on this trip. So we'll do both. Right.
That's great. So a massage.
Yeah.
That would have been excellent.
Hotel had a nice spa.
Yeah. Oh, it did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dang, I didn't know. Anyways, 4 is support each other's passions. Even if it's not your favorite activity, show enthusiasm for what makes your partner happy. Supporting their passion strengthens your bond.
Yep.
And that's what I was asking you earlier. Like, did it showcase itself that I wasn't as like interested? Okay.
Yeah,
So
I didn't feel that.
You didn't feel that. Okay, cool. And then 5 is practice self-care too. It's like don't forgetting about your own well-being. Make sure you balance supporting your partner with activities that recharge and refill you. Like when I left, because I know that for me, I needed to be alone to be able to recharge. So
cool.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
It's great.
All right. Well, let's finish up this podcast with just some thoughts about your birthday and your 38th year and discoveries that you had.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you're kind of looking forward to for the 39th.
Yeah. I haven't really thought about this, but let's say 38th year was a year of growth in our relationship. I think couples therapy, doing this podcast, going through grief together with our passing of our dog. I think we had to experience a lot. I think learning how to be better partners, communicate. I think therapy's helped me a lot this year understand why I react, show up, communicate, respond to certain things in certain ways, which has helped us communicate, handle different situations differently. So it was really, I think, of a growth of us. Started with me growing, but that caused us kind of both to grow. So I also think because of that, I think in work too, just gained a lot more confidence. Because I have a strong confidence now in my voice, decision-making ideas. So I think that came from, pushing myself, speaking up, being decisive in the things. And I think one thing I've done in the past is worried about what others are thinking and their approval. So I think the question I keep asking myself is, does this impact people? Does this make a difference? Is this going to make people's lives at work better? Or what, instead of asking, how are people going to respond to me? How am I going to look? Mm-hmm. It's more, is the thing I'm saying, is that the right thing, best for the business, for the enterprise?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Nikki.
I'm raising my hand. Okay. Actually, no, I'll save it.
You remember it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, let me write it down.
Write it down. So I think that's what it got to when I started thinking bigger and that thinking small about what people think about me, but no, is this all these decisions I'm making and advice I'm giving or things I'm confronting or debating, am I doing it because I believe it's right for the larger organization, the group I'm working with? So I think that helped me a lot and build confidence. And then when you see, obviously, it's not, again, back to result. It doesn't matter what the result was, but just seeing on the other side of it that the impact that did have, and that if I stay in that place, I can make better decisions and have more confidence because I'm making it from I've always had this thing. I want to be approval. I hate getting feedback, and that's something I've been working on. So that I think that held me back from being decisive, making decisions, speaking up when I need to speak up. So I think I grew a lot in that area, which is I think I had a really good year with that, and it's helped me. I would say those are the biggest things. I think as far as my kids, patience, a lot more patience and less expectations in general. But that helped me a lot with the kids, with everything. Just releasing a set of expectations of how things should be and what it should look like has been really key, especially with my kids because they're not. You just don't know what's going to happen, and then not having any expectations how a day or how I come home or what that's going to look like, but just being with them and watching them has been really cool. And trying to be more present with them, but I lost it a few times. You know, there's certain things that you get irritated on, but I'm really trying to work on patience with them. I think I've learned a lot of that of patience with myself, which in turn, if you're patient with yourself, typically you're patient with others.
Cool.
So those are my biggest learnings.
And for 39.
Um, 39. You have something for me?
Well, you said something really poignant that I think you could expand on.
Okay.
So you said, like, how does this impact the business? How does this impact the enterprise? And absolutely, that's a very important thing to do because the work that you're doing impacts that. Get that completely. I love bringing up human design in this way because I think it's really powerful. So you do your best work when you are aligned with the work that you're doing
Yes.
and that you feel really empowered and inspired by. And that's when your energy lights up. And that's actually when more things happen.
True.
Because you are really centered and love the experience.
Yes.
So the question, instead of, and in conjunction with this, how does this impact the business? How does it impact the enterprise? Is how does this impact me?
Mm-hmm.
And how does this feel for me?
Yeah.
And I think that this is also really valuable because being that people pleaser type of person that you are, you put yourself second. Like you want to make sure that other person is feeling appeased, they're feeling supported, you're accommodating for them. But by asking that question and you showing up as you, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, that's when you've been like, when I've said to you, we're in a conversation, you've been feeling uncomfortable. And I've said to you, like, you can't say the wrong thing. Like, just say whatever fuck's on your mind. And you show up as yourself, like how powerful that is. And really how connected I feel with you. It's the same thing with you growing.
Yeah, I think it's going back to trusting my intuition and gut. That's
well, as a generator, that is what you're supposed to do.
I know. I need to lean into that more. Sometimes I go in my head and what other people are thinking, ego driven. So more releasing that. Yeah, I think continuing to do this that we're doing. I'm loving this and this is fun. And start having our own solo episodes and growing in that space. I want to get back to more writing. I used to write a lot. I kind of lost that a little bit. So I think that's something I want to get back to and get back to writing. I got a lot of great ideas and a lot of thoughts out. And it helps me personally grow. So I think that's a big growth thing for me.
Cool.
Continuing to that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
Thanks, honey.
And I'm sorry about SC.
It's okay. And then Niners used by the same score last second, late in the game. And
no, it was not a great week.
Not a
and then
great
you got
weekend.
Sick.
Man.
At least we're going to the Bahamas.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll cover that in another episode.
Another episode.
All right. Well, friends, thank you as always being here, listening, sharing your thoughts. We appreciate you and we love hearing from you how much you're enjoying listening to our podcast. We, just as Jarrod said, we enjoy making it. If you haven't already, make sure you follow both our podcast and Over Dinner Instagram. It's Over Din Podcast. Drop us questions. Connect with us at any time.
Share your insights.
Love to connect with you. And until next time, good night.
Night, guys.